On Friday, Donald Trump posted, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings." How dare you, sir? Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Go f yourself.
If you grew up in an era when the evening news represented the gold standard of American journalism, you probably remember when a broadcaster's credibility was considered their most valuable asset. Icons like Walter Cronkite and Edward R. Murrow never needed outrage or theatrics to gain the public's trust. They earned it through years of disciplined reporting, consistency, and a commitment to presenting facts as they were. Today, however, the political landscape looks very different. It has been shaped by a philosophy that says if an argument cannot be won, the person making that argument must be discredited. Donald Trump understands that late-night comedians have increasingly become modern truth-tellers, using satire to cut through political messaging and highlight the realities of public life. So when he launched an aggressive and unexpected attack against Stephen Colbert, he did not challenge the substance of the jokes. Instead, he targeted the comedian himself. Through a late-night social media post and comments made during a rally, Trump accused Colbert of being a paid propagandist, claimed he was following CIA scripts, and argued that he was intentionally misleading viewers for television ratings. The objective was easy to see. Trump wanted people to stop.
The president also spoke to Time magazine about the most important issue to him, this show. You see a no-talent guy like Colbert, there's nothing funny about what he says. What he says is filthy. And you have kids watching. It only builds up my base. It only helps me. People like him, the guy was dying. By the way, they were going to take him off television.
Trusting the messenger. He wanted to create a loud and chaotic public fight. Instead, what followed was a controlled and devastating response that completely shifted the conversation. Stephen Colbert did not rush online to answer the accusations. He understood that patience is often a comedian's greatest weapon, and that Donald Trump's own public record frequently speaks for itself. Rather than reacting immediately, he waited until the cameras were rolling inside the historic Ed Sullivan Theater. As the show began, Colbert opened with two simple jokes, allowing the audience to settle into the familiar rhythm of the program. Then the mood changed. Once the laughter faded, the playful atmosphere disappeared. Colbert walked over to his desk, picked up an oversized printout of Trump's social media attack, and read it aloud slowly and deliberately.
Colbert has no talent. I mean, I could take anybody here. I could go outside on the beautiful streets and pick up a couple of people that do just as well or better. They get higher ratings than he did. He's got no talent. Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going. I don't know, but I would imagine because they get, Colbert has better ratings than Kimmel or Fallon. You know that.
Without relying on any of his usual comedic impressions, the audience laughed softly, but there was uncertainty in the room. It became clear that this was not a routine setup leading to a punchline. This was a public response to an attack on his professional integrity from one of the most powerful political figures in the country. After reading the post, Colbert placed the paper on his desk as if it were evidence being presented in court. When a man cannot beat the joke, he said with steady confidence, he tries to beat the teller. Colbert explained to the audience that credibility is Trump's preferred battlefield because throwing accusations requires far less effort than answering difficult questions. Then he looked directly into the camera and asked a simple but powerful question. If Trump was truly convinced that this program was lying, why not point to one specific error? Why not identify a single incorrect date, quotation, or video clip? That question immediately transformed the segment from comedy into a challenge of accountability. Pressing a button on his desk, Colbert brought up a large display behind him showing a clean chart with 3 columns labeled Claim, Source, and Verification. He told viewers at home that he was not asking for blind trust. Instead, he intended to walk them through information that could be independently verified. First, Colbert said as he pointed toward the screen, Trump's claim, nobody watches Colbert. He then played a compilation showing Trump repeatedly commenting on The Late Show over the years, even referencing specific remarks from Colbert's monologues. In the verification column, a large green checkmark appeared. Apparently watched enough to respond, Colbert said dryly, drawing loud laughter from the audience. Then he moved to the second point. Trump's claim, Colbert is paid to lie. Colbert did not shout or speculate. He displayed a graphic showing his own on-air disclaimer, reminding viewers that he is a comedian discussing publicly reported information, not someone hiding evidence. Next, he revealed a collage of Trump fundraising emails that routinely described judges, journalists, and political critics as bought and paid for. Leaning slightly forward, Colbert delivered a cutting observation. "If everyone is bought," he said sharply, "then the only person left unpaid is the one trying hardest to sell you the story." The audience laughed again, but this laughter carried a stronger sense of recognition. They were watching a carefully constructed argument dismantle a familiar narrative. Then came the moment that would define the entire segment. Colbert introduced something he called the ultimate credibility test. He announced that the former president would receive 30 seconds, one question, and absolutely no distractions. A giant red countdown clock appeared behind him on the screen. Looking straight into the camera, Colbert issued the challenge. "Donald, you say I'm lying. Fine. Name one sentence I said this week that was factually wrong and tell the American people what the correct version should be. Just one." The timer began counting down. Then, in a dramatic piece of television theater, the red phone sitting on Colbert's desk suddenly lit up and started ringing. The audience gasped as Colbert answered and activated the speakerphone. "Fake comedy! Corrupt networks! You're a nasty, untalented guy!" Trump's unmistakable voice blasted through the studio as he launched into a familiar stream of insults. Colbert remained completely composed. He did not argue or raise his voice. Instead, he calmly pointed toward the countdown clock and repeated the question. "Which specific sentence was false, Mr. President?" Trump immediately shifted to talking about poll numbers and legal bills. Colbert repeated the question. Trump changed direction again and attacked the network's ratings. Colbert asked the same question a third time. Before long, the audience was laughing, not because of a punchline, but because the pattern was impossible to miss. The avoidance had become obvious. The giant timer had turned a flood of distractions into something measurable, exposing the absence of any direct answer. The countdown finally reached 0. A loud buzzer echoed throughout the theater. Colbert slowly raised his hands, remaining perfectly calm. "That is the answer," he said quietly, while Trump continued shouting through the speakerphone. "He cannot correct the record, so he attacks the person presenting it." By then, the audience had stopped paying attention to the insults. Their focus had shifted to what was missing from the entire exchange, a single specific correction. Colbert calmly reached over and ended the call, instantly restoring silence to the room. Then he looked directly into the camera and delivered his final message. "Credibility is not something you announce on social media," he said with conviction. "Credibility is something that survives examination. If you want to know who is lying, pay attention to who avoids the easiest opportunity to correct the facts." For many older viewers watching from home, the moment felt like a welcome reminder of accountability. It demonstrated that confronting a bully does not require matching their behavior. Sometimes all it takes is asking for evidence and shining a light on the facts. Here at Elite Insights, we remain committed to bringing you information and perspectives that others are often unwilling to highlight. If you believe that honesty, credibility, and integrity still matter in America, be sure to subscribe, like this video, and share it with friends and family. Leave a comment below and tell us what you think. Will his supporters ever care about the lack of specifics, or will they continue accepting the attacks regardless? Stay informed, keep asking difficult questions, and we'll see you in the next breakdown.